Hi fellow flowers, Violet here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to add and remove strings using two different techniques. So let's get into it. I have here just a couple of scrap strings that I'm going to be using for this video. You can in fact actually make an entire lanyard using this technique, so maybe don't let your scraps go to waste and instead try doing something along the lines of this. So to start, I'm just going to make your basic one string, two string lanyard. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be using tape for this technique just because it kind of helps to hold things down and show you the difference between adding versus removing. So I have this very fashion forward duct tape from like 10 years ago that I'm just kind of cutting up into some small pieces to help hold the string down. So I can add this string in between the red strings, or I can add it to the side. For this, I'm going to add it in between, and then afterwards I'll show you how to add it on the side. But basically, I've inserted my rainbow string in between each of the red strings, like so. And I'm going to want to weave this into the lanyard as if it was already there. So you can kind of picture in your head which way is going to work, which way isn't. If I add the strings like this, I have two strings pointing the same direction next to each other, and that won't work. It's all going to fall apart because nothing's holding itself down. But if I arrange it like this, if I flip the strings over, then now I have the classic up-down pattern that you're looking for when you're making a lanyard. Now, grabbing at the rainbow string that was pointed upwards, I need to bring this down. So to do that, I'm going over the top purple string and underneath the second, like so. And then I'm just pulling it through. Next, I'm grabbing at the bottom rainbow string, and this needs to go over the purple string that's on the bottom and underneath the purple string that's on top. And then tighten everything up. Now if I flip it over and show you, you'll notice that the expansion is happening from the center of the lanyard. Now what if I wanted to remove this string and I wanted to go back to only having two strings instead of three? Or say for example that maybe your string snapped and you need to remove it. So I'm taping it down again just to kind of keep it out of the way so that I can focus on what I need to do here. And what I'm doing is I'm just weaving a normal two-string lanyard using only the purple and the red. So I'm not weaving the rainbow string at all in this because I want to leave it out. Now when I'm tightening it, the strings are going to be kind of loose because they were used to being bigger before, and it's almost like you've stretched them out now. So they will be a little bit loose when you go into doing the next stitch, but when you do that next stitch, as you're tightening it, it's going to kind of tighten the strand or the stitch that you had done before that. So don't worry too much if it's super loose, because you can always correct that with your next stitch. Now all that's left to do is trim the rainbow strings off. And that's how you add a string in the center of your lanyard. Now, if you want to add a string on the side, you can use the same technique with the tape as I showed you before, except this time you're going to loosen up one of your strings. In this case, I'm loosening up my pink string here, and then I'm going to tape it back down to keep it in place. Now, I have my yellow string here that I want to add. To add this onto the side, I need to go through the loop here and underneath the pink string that's on the bottom. I'm just going to loosen up the tape really quick just so that I have a little bit more room to play with that bottom string. And now I'm going to go through the loop and underneath the pink string on the bottom. I'm lining up my ends and pulling until I meet the middle, and that way I can make sure my string is even on both sides. Now I've taken the bottom string and I'm going over that taped pink string and through the loop. Then I need to grab the yellow string that's pointed upwards, and I need to bring it in between the yellow and that blue string by going over the loop now and underneath the pink string that's on bottom. So now I've tightened everything and I'm just doing a couple of extra stitches to kind of make sure everything's held down. Now what's kind of cool about adding on the side versus adding in the middle is that when you flip it over and look at the bottom, you kind of have this stepwise thing that's happening with your main string every time that you add a string on the side. Okay, so now I'm doing one more stitch just to, again, block everything down. And then what I'm going to do is, say my yellow string has gotten too short, or it's snapped, or I'm just not feeling the yellow in this lanyard anymore and I want to get rid of it. I'm going to take my handy dandy zebra tape, hey, and I'm going to tape it down, tape the yellow strings down, and now I'm only weaving my pink and my blue. And just because I want to use the tape again, I'm going to tape down my pink strands, and I'm going to weave only the blue through the pink. I'm going to go over that loose string and through the loop. Then I'm grabbing the bottom blue string, going over that pink string and through the loop. And now I'm just pulling it all tight. And again, we're kind of having that same thing that happened before, where the first stitch is going to be a little bit loose, but that's totally okay because once we stitch it again, it'll lock everything down for us. So I'm going to quickly do my next stitch. Now I can remove the tape, and then I can trim off the yellow strings again. And there you go, that's how you add and remove strings without any glue, but with using a little bit of tape. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep blooming.